Hi, I'm Randy Wooden, and welcome to another in our Edge Library series, talking to military folks now, and specifically about your resume, building a resume, and this will be part one. There's a lot that goes into a resume, and we've touched on overall resume development in one of our workshops. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, you might want to do so. Let me first say that a resume is a very subjective document. It's something much like a beauty contest. You could have 5 people look at the same thing, and 5 could walk away with each a different opinion of, in their mind, what looks good. And a resume is really no different. Now, having said that, there are some common things or commonalities that many employers tend to look for. And frankly, one of the problems that a military guy is going to run into is lingo. And it's just very difficult for me to understand some of the acronyms, some of the catchphrases and things that are very commonplace to you in what you do for a living, but I live in a different world. And so what you've got to do is find, it's almost like looking up the equivalent or translating from, let's say, Spanish to English. You've got to look up, find out, what does this word really mean? And so that would be one of my first thoughts, is to understand what are the keywords that an employer typically is going to look for in the kind of work you want to do. Example, things like project leadership, project management. The military may have a different term for that. Talk about leadership skills, mentoring. You could talk about, whether it's on the administrative side, everything from contract negotiation to purchasing to vendor selection to a variety of things like that that are applicable in the civilian world. The job title or those specific functions might be called something else. And again, you would know that. I don't live in that world. I live in the private sector world. So keywords going to be pretty important. Something else I would look at too is title. I don't really care what your title was, because an E whatever or what, that doesn't, to me, that doesn't register. And just like, and I've worked with companies as a headhunter in past years where the titles are purposefully very bland and vanilla. So what they're trying to do is to get away from that, hey, the ego thing about, well, my title is this and your title's only that. And so they give titles such as engineer or associate. And it really sort of belies exactly where they fit into the company, but that's done on purpose. Problem is, if that person on their resume just puts the word engineer or puts the word associate, I don't know if they're pushing a broom at Walmart or if they're some manager. I don't know that. I don't know what that means. So you don't feel beholden to have to actually put the exact title that you held. What you want to do is to put what I'd call a descriptive title. That could be group manager, it could be general manager, it could be leader, that sort of thing. That's the idea here. And I understand too, when you're coming from military into civilian, that you're probably going to focus more on your skills versus a chronological of, okay, I did this job, I moved to that job, I moved to this job. Instead, you want to talk those transferable skills. So you've got keywords, all right? Look at the ads that you're applying for. What are they looking for? What are some common words that appear there? You also want to look at your job titles, because at some point on your resume, there's got to be a title. That's how we think. We think titles. But use descriptive titles if you need to. Again, you're looking to match title with the titles that you're applying for in a perfect world. And those would be a couple of things to consider. So you've got keywords, title, and then also consider what I would call a skills-based resume as opposed to strictly a chronological resume. And in our next segment, we'll actually talk a little bit more about what goes into a skills resume as opposed to chronological. But that'll wrap it up for this segment in our Edge Library series, talking with military folks and dealing with building a resume, part 1. We'll have part 2. I'm Randy Wooden. Thanks for watching.